Hi there, you're watching the Gardens and Graveyards channel. My name is Charisma, and today we're going to plant some Amaryllis bulbs and Paperwhites. As you know, I planted some Amaryllis bulbs and some mystery bulbs a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't sure if they were going to bloom because they were bulbs that I stored over a whole year, and they weren't looking to be in the best condition. So I bought some new bulbs so I can for sure have blooms. Now, if you wanted to have your Amaryllis and Paperwhites bloom for Christmas, you're gonna have to plant them around Halloween. But I really enjoy having these fresh flowers in my house after the new year. Really at Christmas time, I have the trees and the swags and the wreaths and the poinsettias and the Christmas cactuses. There's a lot of Christmassy foliage going on and wintertime foliage going on in my house. After the new year, all those things get put away, and I'm really craving end of January, beginning of February. I'm really craving those fresh blossoms, and the best place I could get them is in my home because it's usually raining and cold and I don't want to go outside even if it was blooming outside. So to ensure that I have blooms at the end of January, I bought some more Amaryllis and more Paperwhites. I'm going to plant those up today. So what I'm going to do is plant a trio of Amaryllis. I'll pop the pictures of the different kinds up on the screen for you. And then I'm going to plant my Paperwhites in water this year. So the Amaryllis I'm going to put in this clay pot. It has a drainage hole in it here. And we are going to put like a paper towel or something like that right here. A coffee filter works great as well. But a paper towel will work just fine to cover up the drainage hole, but also give drainage so that water can get out, but not all the soil is going to seep out. I am going to use my handy dandy new potting tray, so let's get that put together. This just makes cleanup so much easier, but I'm going to put this down so you can see. It really does help with cleanup. Alright, so then I'm going to put soil. I don't have very much soil left. Okay. This is just an all-purpose soil. Nothing special about it. I do need a little bit more though. So, what else do I have in here? No. Alright, I'll be back. I'm gonna go get some soil. I just filled this bag a little bit with potting soil from the garage. It's the same kind of potting soil, just in a much larger bag. There we go. That should do it. Alright, then I have these Amaryllis I picked up at Fred Meyer's, our local Fred Meyer. And this one I picked up from Walmart. So I'm going to start with this one because clearly she's dying to get going. You can see there's already a bloom stalk on here, and yeah, it's just been growing in this box like this. If you could see the root system on it is just sort of dried out. And then it's got a couple of stalks and another one coming out right here. And since I'm doing 3, I'm just going to put them in the like a little triangle. Just making a little well and setting her down right in there, nestling it. Can take some of the really big chunks off, but it's not necessary to peel all those layers. But if they're just sloughing off, that's fine. All right, and that's all you do with that. And then we have another one. Typically they come in a box like this, and the container's actually sideways in there. It comes out like this. And then you can see that when they're not upright and they're stuck in their container, how bent over it is. Hopefully it will right itself. I take off some of this skin that's sort of just, it reminds me of a snake right at the very end, where it's just like all totally popped off of the body. All right, so this one's trying to come out the skin right here. So I'm just gonna pull the skin away from the tip and let it come out. But I'm not going to take the rest of that off of there. Okay, so both of these are the same. These are both a white Amaryllis. Let's see if I can find a name. I'm actually going to plant them so that their little guys are all together. See if she writes herself or not. And then, see what else it comes with here. This is a coconut core pellet. And you could put this on the bottom of your container, and then it will, after it gets wet, it'll expand and create a soil medium for these to grow in. But because I want to keep them in soil and in this beautiful display, I won't be using those, but I can certainly hang on to them for the future. For other Amaryllis bulbs or some other project, I suppose. Let's see. Doesn't say the name. No. That's the problem, as I've mentioned before, when you buy plants from big box stores, you don't always get a variety name. But I can see that these are beautiful white blooms. And that's good enough for me. All right, so then the third one, this one came from Walmart. It's already in a pretty gold decorative container, but I want to group them together. So I'm going to pull it out of here. And I may have to cut this cardboard if it, oh, it came out of there just fine. This one is called Amaryllis Glee. And it's a red and white. And the medium in here looks to have been like a coconut core. But again, I'm just going to take her out of here. And all I'm doing is creating a little well, a shallow well, for the bulb to sit inside of, surrounded by soil. And I'm only going to plant them just below their shoulder. So I don't want it to go above the shoulder or at the shoulder. I want the shoulder to be resting on the soil. So right before it bulges out, I'm going to plant the bulb in soil. And I'm going to do my best to get as many roots down under the soil opposed to on top of the soil. So I'm just gonna pop those down in there and put some soil up around her shoulder. Okay. So then I do have some red twig dogwood and a little bit of eucalyptus. I was thinking I might make a little cage for it. So let's see. So what I'm looking for is branches that are nice and flexible. So that feels pretty good. I want it to be able to reach in there. So I'm just gonna cut off this big end. This down here, this in here. And all I'm gonna do is sort of find the middle and try to get it bent like that. And then I'm gonna pop the branches in here, hopefully like this. If it's gonna be strong enough. Might have to wait to do this end and when I do the other side. So let's see what happens. Again, probably be better if I used, instead of using these twig parts, find the actual branch and bend it. So I think that's what I'm gonna do here, is I'm gonna take these little guys out. Find this medium, or find the middle, bend it like this. Let's take this one out. I don't think it's gonna work. I'm gonna do this, just like this. That's better. And take this one off. Right, so I don't know if that's gonna work. Hold on. All right, so again, finding one that's nice and bendy. I'm gonna take off these branches. And then I'm going to bend, and I'm going to stick them the opposite direction, like this. And I think I'm gonna cut it down a little bit more so that they're the same size. I'm just gonna take this tip off a little bit. Right. I cut them too short, who knows? Okay. Okay. All right, so then if I have it like this, I can put some twine around here and kind of secure it even better. Grab some twine. Okay, I don't have any twine convenient, but I do have a pipe cleaner. I'm just going to put this pipe cleaner down like this and sort of cross it. Hold it, twist a couple of times to hold it nice and tight, and then put it down here again. I don't really want to hold down any little twigs because I kind of like that look of the twigs. Twist it a couple more times, and then I can cut that piece off, or I could just keep going and twist, twist, and stick it down there. That's fine. Beautiful. So hopefully this piece will sort of right itself. I'll make sure they're nice and snug in there. If I have this pushed back just a little. The idea is this stalk will grow and lean on this, and this stalk will grow and lean on this, and this stalk will grow and lean on one side or the other of that. So I think it'll work out really nice, and it's really cute and, you know, wintry. It's fun. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and water this in. Now, Amaryllis don't want a lot of water, but I did want to get them watered in, and if they didn't have any greenery on them at all, I would just give them a tiny bit of water and not water them at all until they started growing. But all of these have greenery. Even this one that barely has anything, there is like a 1-inch little shoot and a 2-inch little shoot here. So they're showing greenery. They're ready to get their regular watering. And so I'll just give them a little drink maybe once a week or so till they bloom. All right, and then the last thing I want to do with this is put some Spanish moss. So I have this Spanish moss here. I'm reusing it from another project that I had. If you reuse your moss, make sure that it's not coming from, you know, a container that had any kind of disease or anything like that in it. And I just like to top dress my containers with a little bit of extra something beautiful, but it's not actually necessary to do. It does help create a little bit more moisture retention for your plants. So depending on the plant that you're planting, you may or may not want that. So keep that in mind when you're adding moss. It does make it a little bit, when you top dress the entire surface, it does make it harder to water because the moss will get kind of icky and, you know, it's touching the wet soil, it's getting watered on. You can water through it if it's not super thick. But I suggest leaving kind of an opening in the middle so you could actually feel your soil and see if you actually need to water your plant. And I like reusing moss for these kinds of projects because I know that when I dismantle this project, I am not going to reuse this moss because it will definitely be more, you know, icky than it already is today. But it's perfect for a temporary project. I'll probably dismantle these in February or March. So it only has to last, you know, a month, a couple of months. All right, So now I'm satisfied with that. It looks really cute, really sweet. Put this away. Okay, so the deal with the Paperwhites is you can plant them in soil, but you could also plant them on rock and water. You can buy specialty vases, and I talk a little bit about that in a bulb forcing video that I'll link below that I did last winter. I wasn't super happy with the bulb forcing vases, so I don't know if it's necessary to go to the expense of purchasing one of those, but they look really pretty. I just found that there wasn't enough support for these really tall bulbs that we're planting. Paperwhites could get like 3 feet tall. So first thing I'm going to do here is I have some tumbled rock in a vase, just because that's where I stored them. They haven't been used for anything, they're clean, and they're just hanging out waiting for a project. So I'm going to put these in the bottom of this vase. It's loud. Alright, so I want to make sure that my Paperwhites are down fairly far so that there's plenty of support from this structure to hold the Paperwhites. I also want there to be enough space from the bottom to the bulb for water to be. So now that we've done that, I find it easiest and best practice to go ahead and put my water in before I put the bulbs in. I just want there to be enough water, close enough to the bottom of the bulb that the roots can touch the water. So I have these Paperwhites. These are Zivas, and they are fragrant. Some people don't like the smell of them. I don't really notice the smell as much, but I'm going to pay a little bit more attention because I've heard a bunch of noise about it. You know, to buy specific ones that don't have the fragrance. And some people really love the fragrance and some people hate the fragrance. So I've never really paid attention, so maybe I don't care, or maybe I've always had non-fragrant ones. I don't know. But we'll see what happens with these Ziva bulbs. They are just a white, cute, little wintry bulb. Honestly, they kind of remind me of like fireworks in January. Anyways, this is what the Paperwhite bulb looks like. Healthy and beautiful. It's got a little bit of growing tip on there. This is the side that you'll plant up. This is the side you'll plant towards the bottom. And then we'll just set this part right on, the rocks. And I think there really is only room for 3 in this container, which is perfect. The package came with 3. Then I'm gonna add just a few rocks in between them to help them stand up right. So they're kind of wonky in there, so it's gonna help them a little bit. Okay, I'm careful when I put water in this to make sure that the water is sliding down the side of the glass, because or you know, whatever container you use, and you just want to make sure that the water isn't getting into the crown of the bulb, because you could rot it that way. So one more thing that I want to do, because they do get super tall, is I'm going to add some red twig dogwood into this as well, and it's going to be really pretty that way. get one right in the middle. Might have to do some adjustments again. Definitely should have done that first. Okay. You know what? Learn from my mistakes. Do this piece first. I think I'm gonna put 2 or 3 in here. Do this instead. Okay. Never mind. I forgot I had this eucalyptus that's really nice and branchy and fairly strong. So I'm actually just gonna stick this in here and call it good, I think. So, all right. So, I'm gonna put this in here, right down in the center. Make sure that places for my bulbs. Red twig because I want the outsides to be supported as well. So this like this outside. Sits in there better like that. And this side. Okay. So now I could put these guys in there. Here's an ironic thing. So these are just a collection of stones that I've collected over the years. And as I'm getting frustrated with this project, because I'm just sort of doing it on a whim, this stone pops up. And inside the stone it says, patience. Patience. Okay, well, I'll put it back in there. Just a little reminder from the universe. Sometimes things need a little more patience. Okay. It's hilarious. Okay, it's feeling pretty good. And the water level is still, it's hard to see. Just a touch more. Just a tiny touch more. Perfect. Okay, so I'll show you what this looks like inside. And basically we've just nestled the bulbs in between the stems, and that's it. All right. So, pretty simple projects. I hope that you can see this container and what it looks like. in the screen. Maybe if I put it against this wall a little bit. I'll bring the camera a little closer for you. It's pretty and it's simple and it's easy to do if you kind of have all the elements in your mind. Put it all together. Obviously, you know, you could do it any way you want. I didn't even have to put support in it. I could just put those bulbs on some rock with a little bit of water and let it grow. I just found that last year my Paperwhites were flopping over because they get so big. So I just wanted to make sure that they had a little bit of support this year. And I'll be placing both the Amaryllis and the Paperwhites in a bright sunny location. And they'll take like anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks to bloom, depending on their variety. But that's it. I'll keep you updated. I'll share with you when they do bloom. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Usually they bloom really close to my birthday, which is the beginning part of February. So it's like extra magic. All right, since we're here and set up, I decided that since only 3 of the Paperwhite bulbs fit into that vase, I have a few more that I wanted to have for myself. So I have a clay pot here. So we'll see we'll see what the difference is between planting them on rock with water just underneath the surface of the bulb for the roots to grow down into versus planting them in a container. So again, this is a brand new terracotta pot, so I don't have to wash it out or anything. If you reuse your pots, it's a good idea to wash them with hot soapy water just to make sure that there's no fungal disease or anything on your plants. I especially find myself wanting to do that on porous containers like clay, because I feel like, you know, the bacteria probably just like sucks into that terracotta and like lives in there and then regrows when moisture comes on. I don't feel that as strongly with plastic because there's nowhere for the bacteria to grow. If it's just been sitting there empty for months on end, those things are dead. They're not living in anything. So if they're just, you know, wiped out, or, you know, there's no more soil or anything in it, there's nothing in there, in my opinion. That's just my personal way of going about life and gardening. I got some coffee filters that I can stash in here for future projects. So we're just gonna stick them down over that hole, make sure that the soil doesn't wash out. Again, just regular potting soil. So we want the tips to be above the soil line, but we want the plant, or we want the bulb to be completely underneath the soil line. So I'm gonna plant them all the way over. And I kind of want them to be sitting, you know, at the line of the container or just below the line of the container. So I'm going to put a little bit more soil in there. And I'm going to try to fit more than 3 in this container. It says 4 per 6 inch. Since I don't plan on leaving them in here, I'm going to try to do 5. Push the limit a little bit. It's okay. Large. It's okay. They're the same size. All right. So then they basically just look like this. The tips showing. sure they're nice and snug in there. And then I'm going to put some red twig dogwood sticks. This time, I really just want to have nice straight sticks, so it goes this way. And to like here maybe. This one. Okay. I think that's good, and if I need